Welcome to Networking for Officers and for Clubs. Everyone, please stand up. You need a chance to stand up. It's been a long day. Everyone, please stand on your toes. Go ahead and take a step or two if you want. But it's kind of difficult, right? Go ahead and sit back down. Just like how you are more effective at standing when you use your heels and your toes, you are more effective as an officer when you use networking. What are some reasons why we as officers need to network? Stephanie.
Gain more knowledge.
Gain more knowledge.
To get things done.
Get things done.
Share best practices.
Excellent. I love share best practices. Generally, what I've found is there are three things, generally, that really are good for officers that will help you gain, that you can gain by networking. By the way, I have a flyer at the end. Look! We match.
Coordination at its best.
I know, I was so excited when I saw that. I will get those to you at the end. It has all this information. If you learn by writing down notes, go ahead. But you'll get a nice pink flyer at the end. The three things that you can gain as an officer by networking. Number one, you can gain new members. We talked about this earlier. Bill was giving a presentation with Victoria about how to meet new members. 2 points out of your 10 is to get 8 new members. It'd be good to network and get some new people for your club, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Another thing you guys can gain is you can gain PR for your club. Let's imagine you're a corporate club, like FedEx, let's say. What if you networked with some of the higher ups at FedEx, and you said you're a part of Toastmasters, and you invite them to come to your club? That would be great PR. Even if they don't join, these higher up officers can come to your club, and that builds your club's PR. The other thing that they can do is they sometimes will do your recruiting for you. If they know one of their employees needs to get better at public speaking, they might recommend you come to their Toastmaster club. So they can do the recruitment for you. Would you guys like to learn how to have a GM or a CEO invite them to your club? First, you got to network with them. You got to talk with them. The final thing, and this is one of the big ones for this weekend. You said knowledge transfer and best practice. I love that. This weekend, you are here with people from all different clubs in District 13. Every single one of those clubs has 7 officers. They have the same 7 officers. Do you think that while you have some problems, they might have some of the similar problems? We need you guys out there networking. We need you talking and finding out what works with different clubs. And maybe both of you have the same problem, but you can brainstorm together and come up with new ideas on what to do. So everyone understand that there is importance for an officer to be able to network. Okay. A lot of the techniques we're going to talk about are for an individual, but they apply for an officer as well, and partially they apply as your club as well. All right, so we're kind of going to focus on as an individual. Some of these techniques apply at the individual level, but we're going to apply it to officers. So here's our goals for today. We're going to talk about the rules of networking. We're going to learn how to start conversations. We're going to learn how to end some conversations. Have you ever had a conversation you wanted to end?
Yeah. Sure.
We're also going to learn some nice tools for networking that you can use to help develop you and maintain those relationships. So the first thing is the rules of networking. The first rule comes from Keith Ferrazzi. Keith Ferrazzi wrote the book, Never Eat Alone. It is a fantastic book, a lot of different techniques on how to meet people and network. I would highly recommend checking that book out. And in his book, one of the things Keith mentions is that he talks about the networking jerk. Don't be the networking jerk. The networking jerk is going around saying, what can you do for me? What can you do for me? And what can you do for me? We want to ask the opposite, right? Keith Ferrazzi's rule is it's about them. It's what can I do for you to help you out? What can I do to help you and your club out? And if you both have that attitude, you will be able to help each other out, and you'll develop your network. We now go into another person who talks about networking. He doesn't have a book about networking, but we're going to talk about the Turansky rules of networking. That's me. First rule, people are people. So treat people like people. Have you ever been treated like scum? Where the person is just mean to you, they don't get along, and it's like we're having a conversation and I'm elsewhere, I'm not giving you the time of day. It's not good. You want to treat people like people, because I know every single one of you has been treated badly by someone. You don't want to be that person, and you don't build relationships. You get more bees with honey, as the saying goes, right? You want to treat people like people. The second Turansky rule of networking has two parts. The second rule of Turansky's networking is don't follow the summer camp rules. First rule of summer camp, always have a buddy, which is good because you don't want to get abducted or drowned. I don't think you're going to drown here this weekend. What the point of this is, how many of you came with people from your club? I went to a fraternity event one time. Brothers from across the country. Opportunity to meet brothers trying to do great things at their chapters. Again, had similar problems to me. And the saddest thing I saw was the entire weekend, the 4 brothers from my chapter stayed together. You guys rode in together. You guys are riding home together. You live together. Well, that's more fraternity, but you guys are from the same club with each other. Spend some time with other people. Meet new people, because that's how we grow. And that leads into the second summer camp rule. Second rule of summer camp is don't talk to strangers. If we're trying to build our network, we have to talk to strangers. Now, I know that people follow the summer camp rules when they're networking because they're comfortable, right? You know these people. We're all Toastmasters here, we're nice people. Talk to new people. Most of us. We're all nice people. Meet new people. And I know talking to strangers can be scary for some people. But take advantage of the opportunities you have here this weekend for lunch and afterwards to meet new people, sit with different people so that you grow your network. So those are the rules for networking. Now, to meet new people, we have to introduce ourselves to people, right? Yes. Yes, Scott. We're going to go through, by the way, later on I'm going to give you guys time to practice the rules of networking. I'm going to give you guys time to practice these introductions and these closings. But we have to go through how to do an introduction first, properly. Okay? So for that, I'm going to call on Stephanie Scott to come on up here. Hi, Stephanie.
Hello.
My good friend Stephanie. So for this, I'm going to give you an example with networking, and I want you to tell me what I did right and what I did wrong. Hint, there will be a lot more what I did wrong in this case. And so for this case, we're going to pretend that you just came to my Toastmaster Club. This is your first time coming. So we need to pretend that you and I don't know each other.
Okay.
Can you do that?
Yeah, that's easy.
Okay. So, hi, welcome to Toastmasters. We have a communications track and we have a leadership track, and we're a group that helps you develop your public speaking. We help you work with, you give a speech and then someone evaluates your speech. And then what ends up happening also is that you get someone who counts your Oz and grammarian, and they time you so that you don't run out of...
It's okay.
What went wrong? Hi. What went wrong? Why was I bad?
Too fast.
Too fast?
Too much information.
Too much information?
You don't want her talking.
Easy to talk, and yet it's tougher to listen, so you have
Yeah.
to be a listener.
It was a very, and I was over the top. I've done that before. I've had too much energy. You could have seen with her, did you see her body language? She wanted nothing to do with me. I'm very familiar when a woman does that body language and wants nothing to do with me. Thank you, Stephanie. Good job.
You didn't even introduce yourself.
I didn't even introduce myself.
He
I
didn't
just
let me
went-
say hello either.
I didn't say hello. It was just shove it down the throat, right? It was complete, it was too much. She couldn't respond to that. Don't do that. That is a bad example, and that goes against everything you learned earlier from Bill and Victoria, right? I went to a fraternity event and I learned a nice technique, though, for meeting and introducing people. This is a way just to start the conversation. You build rapport with people. You guys interested in learning that?
Oh, yeah.
Let's get someone I don't know. Can you come on up and help me out?
I can try.
All right, thank you. Hi, I'm Scott.
Hi, I'm Rod.
Rod, how are you?
Good.
Good. Is this your first TLI?
Yes, it is.
Okay, what's been your favorite part so far?
I think the little skit at the very beginning in the auditorium
Very-
kind of got my attention. I didn't expect that kind of thing.
Good, good. We always like to surprise people and give people new perspectives. Now, what's you're part of which club?
Early Bird.
Early Bird. Okay. What is your favorite part? Or I'm sorry. What does your club do that you find most fun?
Probably table topics.
Table topics. Are you pretty good at table topics?
No.
No.
Which is why I find it a challenge.
It is a
Something
challenge.
I want to try.
Table topics are a difficult thing to master. Excellent. How about that? Was that a lot better?
Mm-hmm.
What did we do? Thank you very much. How about a hand for Rod?
Yeah.
What was different?
You listen partly.
I listened.
You let him do the talking and drive the conversation more
I
so
did.
than you.
And keep in mind, the interesting thing with that is everyone says, okay, you must be more listening. This is a conversation. If I come up and all I'm doing is listening to Ron, and Ron's just talking because I'm trying to listen, it's going really well for one of us because one of us is literally listening, but he doesn't know anything about me. So there does need to be dialogue back and forth, and you do want to listen to what the other people are saying and bringing. However, the topics, there wasn't anything taboo. We were talking just very casual stuff and it built some rapport, right? When I was in college, the University of Illinois, where I went to school, had a program where they had every single person from the Greek, or excuse me, they had a representative from every Greek fraternity on campus come and listen to this presenter. It was called Fired Up Productions, with a P-H-I, like the Greek letter. And one of the things they did was they taught us how to recruit and how to network with other people. Now I understand we are not in a fraternity environment, but fraternities are organizations that depend on having good members and recruiting good members to survive and thrive. Do you guys have similar situations with your clubs? So the lesson still applies. So this is the topics that Fired Up suggested talked about. It's called the Fired Up 5 F's of Fraternity Recruitment. It's very simple. We have 5 F's. Now, I used some of them in my conversation with Rod. It's Rod, right?
Right.
With a D, that's what I said. Okay. I wanted to make sure I wasn't saying it wrong.
That's been asked Mary, it's been a club issue.
What were some of the F's that we talked about?
Favorite.
Favorite, yes.
Fun. Was
Yes.
that one?
Where he's from, right?
Oh, yeah.
First. I don't think we talked about that, but I think we know this thing. Okay, you're right, we did. And there's one more. It's actually cheating. It's 2 and 1, but it's the same. It's family and friends. Would any of you have any major issues if we talked about one of these things? They're generally pretty good topics. Now, what you want to try to avoid, though, is you want to avoid conversations and questions that are one-word responses. Those are bad. What club are you part of?
Erie.
Erie. Are you a new member? No. What's your officer role?
Pardon?
What's your officer role?
Sergeant at Arms.
Sergeant at Arms. We are not getting anywhere with this conversation. It's like pulling teeth, and you don't want that. You want to have, what's your favorite part? Or tell me about your first speech. Tell me about your first time at TLI. So what family, friends, and you don't have to ask those exactly those F's. You could say, what's the best part? It's creative, right? These are nice ways to introduce, and these are good conversation starters. You build rapport between you and someone else, and it lets you start the conversation and get things going. Okay? And everyone has these that they can talk about. Okay? These are broad, safe topics to talk about. So now that we know how to introduce ourselves to people, sometimes we just have to end the conversation. One of the ways that you can do this, remember the Ferrazzi rule? What was Ferrazzi rule?
Don't follow summer camp rule.
That was the Turansky rule.
I'm sorry.
It's about you. What can I do for you? Right?
Right.
Tim, you know, we've been having a great conversation. I understand you are here to network, and I don't want to take up any more of your time. I understand you want to go and meet other people, so I don't want to. That's a nice way that you can close it, and it's about him. You're not taking up more of his time. It's something to consider. Let's say Tim and I were talking, though, and Rod was one of the members of my club. By the way, this is the one exception to the buddy rule where you are allowed to network with your buddy. Because let's say Tim and I are talking, and Tim's president of his club. Well, Rod also is president of the club. He's part of my club, though. And I want Rod to meet this president. So I come up and introduce, he sees I'm talking to someone he wants to talk to. He can come up and I'll understand that he wants to meet this person. I'll introduce Rod. Have you met Tim yet? Tim's president of XYZ Club. Oh, you're president of ABC Club. Listen, I'm going to let you guys talk for a little bit. I want you guys to definitely meet each other. That's a nice way you can do that. You can talk and have a good conversation you can pass off. So when you see someone that one of your friends is talking to, that is the exception to the buddy rule, is if you want to go talk to that person, use that person. But don't spend the entire time you're here with the same people. Okay? So we know the rules. We know how to open, right? We know how to close. Now it's time for you guys to try. I want you guys to meet some people. I want you to talk to the other people in this room. We're going to spend about 5 to 10 minutes, and I know this is going to be uncomfortable. But I'd rather you do it here and we learn what works, what doesn't, than before you make a mistake out there. So everyone be friendly to everyone else, and let's go meet different people that you haven't met. Okay? Go. Did you meet somebody interesting?
Yes.
Did you meet somebody uninteresting? Don't answer that question.
Nobody
Some people only talk to one
uninteresting.
person. Definitely don't answer that question. 2 in a row. What worked? How'd it go? What? Give me some feedback. What happened? Tell me what happened. You met some people.
That's some people.
I showed one of them. I met this early, the last 2 magazines, District 13 on
Excellent.
the back.
Well done. What else? What didn't work? What was something you guys had trouble with? Or you found, oops, I made a mistake here, so that others can learn. Everyone's perfect.
I learned something. Everybody was paired up by the time I got this little gadget turned off. How do I bust into a conversation here?
Sometimes the simple way, if they're having the conversation, that can be tough. Say, listen, I wanted to talk to you guys. You guys seem interesting. Do you mind if I join the conversation? Or stand there and listen a little bit, so you're not just, hi, I want to talk right now about what I want to talk about. Doesn't matter to me that you guys are talking about real estate.
Yeah, I should have tried the networking
Yeah.
jerk.
That kind of forces yourself in, and it splits the group. It doesn't go over that well. It's a little too much. So I would avoid that, but sometimes you can just stand there and wait and get in on the conversation, and then when you give the, hey, I'm sorry for not saying this earlier, I'm Scott, and you're you, and etc. You wouldn't say that, that was... So we have the connection, you guys have talked. Did anyone exchange business cards or contact or something like that?
Well, yeah.
Good. Good, that's important.
I couldn't find mine.
Right, that's important too, is finding your business cards. The next part we're going to talk about is maintaining these relationships, because now we've set up the relationship. We've met each other, but now we need to maintain that relationship. I have a little story for you. About a year ago, I moved to West Mifflin. And I got a phone call before I moved from my mom. My mom says, Scott, I have a plant for you. I said, Mom, I don't want a plant. I don't want to have to take care of it, and besides, I'm a guy. I don't want a plant. She says, Scott, it's easy. You don't have to take care of it. All you have to do is water it. Mom, that's taking care of it.
Right.
Now, does your mom have a way of just ending conversations where it's just done, there's no response? Because Mom says to me, Scott, you need to have a plant in your apartment. Otherwise, people are going to think you're a serial killer. Bring the plant. So here's what ended up happening. The plant went on the windowsill. I lived in a big apartment complex. I would park my car. I'd walk up to the apartment complex. I'd see my plant at the window and say, oh, I have to water that. I'd walk to the front door. I'd walk of the apartment complex. Walk to the front door. Walk to the second door. Unlock the second door. Walk in, get my mail, check my mail. Walk to my apartment. Unlock the door and say, there was something I was supposed to do. And I check my email. Pretty soon, I got home, walked up to my apartment complex and saw a dead plant in the window. Same thing happened. Walked up. It took a long time for me to throw out the dead plant just because I kept forgetting about it because it was behind the blinds. Now some of you are saying, Scott, I'm not going to be networking with plants. That's true. But if my relationship with a plant took that level of effort, imagine how much effort you have to put in with a human. See what I'm saying? We need to maintain contact, otherwise you're going to become forgotten. So now, we're going to go through some tools that'll help you maintain contact with other people. One of them we've already talked about, business cards. You need to have business cards when you come to an event like this, and always have some on you. Vistaprint. If you work for a company like by day, I work for a company that we don't have business cards. My night company does, but you need to have business cards because when you network, otherwise I want to scribble on a piece of paper my information, and that gets lost with all my other papers. You want to have a way to maintain these cards. So, and this is an extension of you, keep in mind. When you hand this off, this is an extension of you. So having a nice case like this, they're cheap, they're like $2.50 or $10 on Vistaprint. It's a nice way of presenting your business cards, presenting yourself. Now, you're going to be getting business cards, right? Guys, you might have seen me carrying this around. This is not a man purse, or a merce as it's called.
Prove it.
I am not that fashion forward. If you notice I'm wearing black, it's brown, clearly not that fashion forward. This is my business card holder. In fact, I have probably about 12 of these. I have ones for every single group I'm part of. This is my Toastmaster one. And so what ends up happening is I'll go through and quickly look at the names before I get to the event. And also, if you notice, there's handwriting. You probably can't read it because you're far away, but more so because I have terrible handwriting. But I write something on the back. I always ask for permission first because it's an extension of them. I don't want to go up to Ron and give him a tattoo on his forehead. And in some cultures, the business card, writing on the business card, is considered giving you a tattoo. Ron, would you like a tattoo written across your forehead?
No, thank you.
Okay. So always ask. It's always polite. It's the right way to do it. So that's something too important. So I have different ones of these for my different groups. What happens is when people join different groups that I see them, I'll see them at a real estate group, and then suddenly I don't have their card when they're at Toastmasters. I'm at a loss. But this is a nice way to help remember people's names and keep in contact with people. The other nice tool that there is, how many of you have a smartphone? Excellent. How many have a dumb phone?
Probably.
Those with the smartphone, there's a very cool app out there. The app is called CardMunch. CardMunch. Here's what happens. Your camera on your phone, you need to have a camera, and it takes a picture of the business card. what you can do is you say, make sure, it says, is everything legible? It says, yeah. And then it sends that off, I believe, to LinkedIn. Because this connects it, it adds that person onto LinkedIn. So if Ron gave me his card, I scanned it, I scanned this, suddenly we're connected on LinkedIn. He's got an invitation waiting from me, and I didn't even have to go and send an invite. The reason that works is because it's made by LinkedIn. So that's why they connect you to their website. It's a very nice tool, and then later on, if you come back to it, someone, I believe, typed in all the information, so it says first name, last name, it's got all the information right there. You have all the cards you can just scan through. Nice tool to have if you have a smartphone. If you don't have a smartphone, sorry. Can't help you out that way.
That's right.
We talked about social media, and that's the next one. I'm going to say this as a caution, though. Social media is a very broad topic. I have 45 minutes. This is like 5 minutes of my presentation, okay? So if you don't understand social media, that's a separate class. Today we're going to just kind of talk about how you can leverage them and how you can use them. One of the nice things with social media, everyone knows what social media is. The main thing we're going to talk about is LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. LinkedIn is the business one, but there are business applications for Facebook and Twitter. MySpace, roll up. We're a little bit past MySpace. But what ends up happening with LinkedIn is its professional connections. What's really nice, though, let's say you're bad with names. When Ron gets that invite from me, and Ron adds me as he's in my network, I can look at Ron's profile, and I can see a picture of Ron. And I can see his name right there. Oh, that's who Ron is. Okay, it helps establish the difference between helps establish the connection between the name and the person. So that's important. Same thing with Facebook. That's one of the nice benefits of Facebook is you have the picture there. Now, let's talk about you as a club for a brief moment. Did you know that your club can have a Facebook page and a LinkedIn page, I guess would be the terms? Did you know that? That's a cool technique to have. If you have a Facebook group, and it's the ABC Toastmasters, invite all the ABC Toastmasters to like that group. And have your vice president of management send out a Facebook message the day or two before your meeting. Let's be honest, you know you check Facebook more than you check email. It's a nice way, another way of getting in contact with some of the people. What you can also do is you can post something about speaking, just keeping in contact with those people in your network. And what's nice about that is if you post something in the group, like if you do it on the Facebook page, that message can be sent to 10 people. You don't have to write it separate for every single person. It's right there and they remember. So that's a nice way to leverage your time and talk to multiple people. Okay? So Facebook and LinkedIn are two of the main ones you want to have. A profile is separate from a page, and LinkedIn calls it something else, I believe. Look up their requirements, take a course on social media if you don't understand what I'm talking about. But there's profiles which are for people, and there are like pages for clubs and companies and stuff like that. You would need a page for ABC Toastmasters. But once you get it, you get people to like it, they get going along those lines. All right? Before we wrap up and do a quick review, anyone have any questions?
I'd like a few words on Twitter, because I've never tweeted.
Twitter is, I'm not that familiar with Twitter. It's, I believe, 160 characters.
140.
140, see? I'm going to actually defer to Tim, because Tim I know does Twitter, and he can tell a bit more about it.
Basically, Twitter is an online link that you just type in what you're doing now or what you're thinking about. That might be relevant to other people, or you just want to share with other people. And you have 140 characters in which you type out something about yourself or your thoughts that you'd like to share.
So you can type in that you had a fantastic TLI meeting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Along those lines, you can also say, good job to Rod for winning at the club level. It gets the tweet out there to other people, and they start hearing about it. You got a question in the back?
It's not a question, but it's an add-on. If you're on Twitter and you are at an event such as a TLI, you can ask the people who are organizing the TLI if they can set up a hashtag.
Right.
And a hashtag could be something as simple as #D13 TLI, for example. And then every message that includes that hashtag gets aggregated by Twitter, so you can see what everybody who came to TLI and tweeted said. it gives you a lot more ability to spread the message.
Excellent.
Sorry.
Anyone
Mark.
else?
Another smartphone app that has a networking thing, has you take a picture of everybody you meet and organize them. Is that an okay thing to do? I feel a little uncomfortable saying, hold still, and I want to take a picture.
Ask first, don't just, hi, I'm taking your picture now. That's just weird. But you want to ask them and say, listen, I would explain what you're doing, is what I would say. I'd say, hey, listen, I have trouble with names and faces. Do you mind it takes a picture with your business card? If I get that, and then you can sit there and show what's going on. And most people will probably say yes, they might want to fix their hair first, but you've at least given them the opportunity not just smile, I'm taking the picture. So, then that's, and see, case in point, there's two other things. This is why you want to network, because they have other experience that you may not be the expert on. There's people in this room who have the answers to your questions. Just gotta get it out there. So,
It was like kind of loud motion in here while we're doing the networking exercise. So if you're out trying to network at an event, it's loud and boisterous. Like, is there a good technique for like approaching someone, like trying to start a conversation rather than just like, hi, like getting like, in their face?
well, I was gonna say I'm loud, so that works well for me. It's you do want to sit there and you're saying like if they're having a conversation.
Yeah, they're already talking to someone, or you see they're not talking to someone. How do you like approach them and like?
Well, if you see
that way?
someone not talking to someone, they're the easiest approach because they're sitting there by themselves. Tim was, as he mentioned earlier, when he was done, I noticed, and that's a really great technique for networking. You notice the person who's standing by themselves and kind of afraid to start the conversation, walk up and start the conversation. It's a bit tougher when it's louder. Maybe once the conversation started, you say, I'm having trouble hearing you. Can we step out in the hall real quick so we can have this conversation? I really want to hear what you have to say. That's a technique you can possibly use. Alternatively, when you speak, it's just about where you speak from. If you need volume, you speak from here. This is where you speak from volume. This controls the tempo and all the how high you are and how low you are. This controls projection. So when you need to be loud, you can speak from here. And sometimes say, listen, I can't really hear you. So it's a tough. You're right. There are tough times when it's very loud. Anyone else? Excellent. Well, I'm going to pass back these flyers for the quick review. And you will not lose these things because they are so bright. Well, then, you might lose them.
Thanks, Scott.
Keep them out of the bedroom. They will keep you up at night.
It's hard to read it.
Wakes you up, right? Been a long day. You need to look at a bright pink flyer. We talked about the clubs, how wide these are. Oh, sorry, I thought they're coming. They're coming. She's got you.
Oh, okay.
They're coming. We talked about 3 reasons why networking is important for officers and clubs. The club success plan, the 8 new members, the PR that other people can bring. We talked about meeting the other officers in events like this. We talked about the rules of networking. We talked about how to start conversation, how to close conversation, and then post the initial meeting, how to maintain those relationships. And that's pretty much it. My contact's at the bottom. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. But thank you guys. You guys were a great audience. I hope you had some fun and learned a lot of good stuff. So thank you.
Thank you, Tom.